Ladies and gentlemen, the recipients of the 1998 National Medal of Technology Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by the Secretary of Commerce, Bill Daly, and the Assistant to the President for Science and Technology, Neil Lane.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the presentation of the Presidential Medal of Science and the Medal of Technology. I especially want to acknowledge the family members and the friends and colleagues who are joining us from remote sites. Some feel that means outside the Beltway. The individuals and the teams and the corporations whom we honor here today represent many different fields of science, engineering, medicine, technology. They are true American heroes, examples not only of others in their field, but for all Americans, and especially young Americans. Today's medalists were nominated and selected by their peers on the basis of lifetimes of accomplishment. They've expanded scientific frontiers, and they have spurred technological innovation. They have helped make our country more competitive in the global marketplace, and they have helped improve the lives of people everywhere in the world. These medals are the highest honors the White House gives for such achievements. And throughout their administration, President Clinton and Vice President Gore have emphasized the importance of investing in the future, especially in education and research and development. These awards are an enduring symbol of that commitment. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Secretary of Commerce William Daly, the man who knows firsthand the value of science and technology in the daily lives of Americans. Thanks to Secretary Daly's leadership, the Department of Commerce has helped ensure America's prominence in science and technology by promoting partnerships between the federal government and state and local governments, universities, community colleges, nonprofit organizations, and of course the private sector. The Clinton-Gore administration believes that such partnerships will give rise to future achievements that may match those of the laureates we recognize here today. I'm pleased to introduce him now, please, Secretary William Daly.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Neil. First, let me recognize some of the members of the Nomination Evaluation Committee who are with us here today. We thank all of the members for the time that they spend, and we know and understand what a difficult task it is to try to decide winners among so many brilliant people. Those who are with us today are Roseanne Daybeck, Esther Hopkins, Julie Scheimer, and Rochelle Side. So we thank them for being here, and we thank all of the members of the Evaluation Committee. Mr. President, if I could, before I introduce you, I'd like to brag a little. One of the National Medal of Science winners is Dr. John Kahn. Dr. Kahn works at the Commerce Department. This is the second year in a row that we have had professionals and such expert employees, fine people from the Commerce Department win these sort of terrific and unbelievable awards. Last year, Dr. Bill Phillips of the Commerce Department won a Nobel Prize. So you may have the most technically challenged member of your cabinet standing before you, but these people make our entire department and make the secretary look halfway decent. Since 1985, our country has honored 120 Americans and American companies with the National Medal of Technology. We have a distinguished group ready to join their ranks. Last night, I told the recipients about your economic record of the lowest unemployment and interest rates in over a generation, of the 18 million new jobs that have been created for our fellow citizens since you and Vice President Gore took office a little over 6 years ago, the surplus that has lowered the cost of capital, so that last year we saw U.S. companies boost their R&D budgets by over 10%. And I also told the winners that you would be the first to admit that this remarkable economy is not so much driven by what we do in Washington. The fact of the matter is that the numbers and the success have been driven by innovation, driven by technology, and driven by the outstanding work of these men and women and 120 who preceded them. But I strongly believe that there is no president who has ever worked harder or has been more committed to making sure that our winners have the environment to succeed and accomplish what they have. You have put science at the center of our national agenda. You know no investments our government make have ever paid off better in jobs, in growth, and opportunity than the investments which we have made in research. So it is once again my great honor to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to begin by thanking Neil Lane and Secretary Daly for the terrific job they do for our administration every day and for the American people. I also want to welcome two eminently qualified members of Congress to be here, Senator Bill Frist, a distinguished physician, and Representative Rush Holt, our only bona fide scientist in the United States Congress. And it's about time we had one, and I'm glad they're both here. Each year I look forward to presenting these medals because they show again that America's future is flowering as a result of the work of the honorees and people like them all over our country. I suppose I am living proof when I come here every year that it is possible for a person to love and support those things which he does not fully understand. Indeed, one of the reasons that I asked Al Gore to join the ticket with me in 1992 was that I felt that the work you do would shape the future of America, and I thought there ought to be somebody here in the White House who knew more about it than I did. In the years since, I've done my best to be a good student. One of the things that impresses me is the nature of the work that all of you do, although it is very different. I was deeply moved when I read as a young man what Albert Einstein said when he said, "I think and think for months and years. 99 times, the conclusion is false. The 100th time, I am right." I wonder how many of you day and night, perhaps fueled by lukewarm coffee or kept awake by stubborn puzzles, have waited for that 100th time. We are very glad that you made the effort. You have sought answers to questions that few Americans can even begin to understand, or others people ask but can't answer. Questions about neutrino physics and plant genetics, about polymer composites, and urban poverty. Your success in illuminating the hows and whys of our world and raising the quality of human existence have helped make the time in which we live perhaps the most exciting in human history. I am humbled by your achievements and honored to present these medals to you. I'd like to take just a moment to reaffirm something that is obvious to all of you. but needs to be equally clear to your fellow Americans. In an age when the entire store of knowledge doubles every 5 years, where prosperity depends upon command of that ever-growing store, the United States is the strongest it has ever been, thanks in large measure to the remarkable pace and scope of American science and technology in the last 50 years. Our scientific progress has been fueled by a unique partnership between government, academia, and the private sector. Our Constitution actually promotes the progress of what the founders called science and the useful arts. The partnership deepened with the founding of land-grant universities in the 1860s. After World War II, President Roosevelt directed his science advisor, Vannevar Bush, to determine how the remarkable wartime research partnership between universities and the government could be sustained in peace. New frontiers of the mind are before us, Roosevelt said. If they are pioneered with the same vision, boldness, and drive with which we have waged the war, we can create a fuller and more fruitful employment and a fuller and more fruitful life. Perhaps no presidential prophecy has ever been more accurate. Vannevar Bush helped to convince the American people that government must support science, that the best way to do it would be to fund the work of independent university researchers. This ensured that in our nation, scientists would be in charge of science. And where before university science relied largely on philanthropic organizations for support, now the national government would be a strong and steady partner. This commitment has helped to transform our system of higher education into the world's best. It has kindled half a century of creativity and productivity in our university life. Well beyond the walls of academia, it has helped to shape the world in which we live and the world in which we work. Biotechnology, modern telecommunications, the internet, all had their genesis in university labs, in recombinant DNA work, in laser and fiber optic research, in the development of the first web browser. It is shaping the way we see the universe. Just last week, astronomers at San Francisco State University, whose work was supported by the National Science Foundation, announced they had detected a solar system of 3 large planets orbiting the star Upsilon Andromedae. This suggests strongly that there are billions of planets in the universe, some of them undoubtedly very much like Earth. Now, on my bad days here, that's a very sobering thought, but quite an exciting one. It is shaping the way we see ourselves, both in a literal and in an imaginative way. Brain imaging is revealing how we think and process knowledge. We are isolating the genes that cause disease, from cystic fibrosis to breast cancer. Soon we will have mapped the entire human genome, unveiling the very blueprint of human life. Meanwhile, I want to compliment the committee on recognizing today the role of social science and honoring William Julius Wilson, whose work has deeply influenced what I have tried to do as president, to bring the benefits of work to people too long denied them. Today, because of this alliance between government and the academy, we are indeed enjoying fuller and more fruitful lives. With only a few months left in the millennium, the time has come to renew the alliance between America and its universities, to modernize our partnership to be ready to meet the challenges of the next century. 3 years ago, I directed my National Science and Technology Council to look into and report back to me on how to meet this challenge. Today, I'm pleased to present their findings. The report makes 3 major recommendations. First, we must move past today's patchwork of rules and regulations and develop a new vision for the university-federal government partnership. Vice President Gore has proposed a new compact between our scientific community and our government, one based on rigorous support for science and a shared responsibility to shape our breakthroughs into a force for progress. Today, I ask the National Science and Technology Council to work with universities to write a statement of principles to guide this partnership into the future. Next, we must recognize that federal grants support not only scientists, but also the university students with whom they work. The students are the foot soldiers of science. Though they are paid for their work, they are also learning and conducting research essential to their own degree programs. That is why we must ensure that government regulations do not enforce artificial distinctions between students and employees. Our young people must be able to fulfill their dual roles as learners and research workers. And I ask all of you to work with me, every one of you, to get more of our young people, especially our minorities and women students, to work in our research fields. Over the next decade, minorities will represent half of all of our school-age children. If we want to maintain our continued leadership in science and technology well into the next century, we simply must increase our ability to benefit from their talents as well. Finally, America's scientists should spend more time on research, not filling out forms in triplicate. Therefore, I direct the NSTC to redouble their efforts to cut down the red tape, to streamline the administrative burden of our partnership. These steps will bring federal support for science into the 21st century, but they will not substitute for the most basic commitment we need to make. We must continue to expand our support for basic research. You know, one of Clinton's laws of politics, not science, mind you, is that whenever someone looks you in the eye and says, "This is not a money problem," they are almost certainly talking about someone else's problem. Half of all basic research not immediately transferable to commerce, but essential to progress, is conducted in our universities. For the past 6 years, we have consistently increased our investment in these areas. Last year, as a part of our millennial observation to honor the past and imagine the future, we launched the 21st Century Research Fund, the largest investment in civilian research and development in our history. In my most recent balanced budget, I proposed a new information technology initiative to help all disciplines take advantage of the latest advances in computing research. Unfortunately, the resolution on the budget passed by Congress earlier this month shortchanges that proposal and undermines research partnerships with NASA, the National Science Foundation, and the Department of Energy. This is no time to step off the path of progress in scientific research. So I ask all of you, as leaders of your community, to build support for these essential initiatives. Let's make sure the last budget of this century prepares our nation well for the century to come. From its birth, we have been built by bold, restless, searching people. We have always sought new frontiers. The spirit of America is, in that sense, truly the spirit of scientific inquiry. Vannevar Bush once wrote that science has a simple faith which transcends utility, the faith that it is the privilege of man to learn to understand, and that this is his mission. Knowledge for the sake of understanding, not merely to prevail. That is the essence of our being. None can define its limits or set its ultimate boundaries. I thank all of you for living that faith, for expanding our limits and broadening our boundaries. I thank you through both anonymity and acclaim, through times of stress and strain as well as times of triumph, for carrying on this fundamental human mission. Major Williams, please read the citations.
The recipients of the 1998 National Medal of Science Award: Don L. Anderson, for his leading contributions to understanding the composition, structure, and dynamics of Earth and Earth-like planets, and his influence on the advancement of Earth sciences over the past 3 decades, nationally and internationally. Bruce N. Ames, for changing the direction of basic and applied research on mutation, cancer, and aging by devising a simple, inexpensive test for environmental and natural mutagens, by identifying causes and effects of oxidative DNA damage, and by translating these findings into intelligible public policy recommendations on diet and cancer risks for the American people. John N. Bacall. For his fundamental contributions to areas of modern astrophysics, ranging from solar neutrino physics to the structure of the Milky Way galaxy to cosmology, and for his leadership of the astronomical community, especially his tireless advocacy of the Hubble Space Telescope. John W. Kahn. For his pioneering work on thermodynamics and kinetics of phase transitions and diffusion, on interfacial phenomena, and for his contributions to the understanding of periodic and quasi-periodic structures. Kathleen S. Morowitz. For her pioneering contributions to the theory of partial differential equations and wave propagation that resulted in applications in aerodynamics, acoustics, and optics, her research accomplishments are matched by her leadership and inspiration, judgment and vision, and knowledge and generosity to colleagues and collaborators. Janet D. Rowley. For revolutionizing cancer research, diagnosis, and treatment through her discovery of chromosomal translocations in cancer and her pioneering work on the relationship of prior treatment to recurring chromosome abnormalities. For epitomizing the bench-to-bedside philosophy in her application of basic discoveries to clinical medicine, and for her leadership nationally and internationally in the oncology and biomedical communities. Eli Rukenstein. For his pioneering theories of the thermodynamics of microemulsions, hydrodynamics of thin films, interfacial phenomena, nucleation, scaling of transport phenomena, and for imaginative technological and experimental achievements in the areas of catalysis, polymer composites, metal support interactions, and protein separation. George M. Whitesides. For innovative and far-ranging research in chemistry, biology, biochemistry, and material science, pioneering work of technological interests, and his extensive involvement with teaching, government, and industry. William J. Wilson. For his innovative approach to studying urban poverty, his dedication to the proposition that rigorous social change will improve his fellow Americans' lives, and his advocacy of policies which reflect more accurately what we have learned from research, and which therefore take a broader point of view with respect to the interactions of race, class, and location. The recipients of the 1998 National Medal of Technology. Denton A. Cooley. For inspirational skill, leadership, and technical accomplishments during 6 decades of practicing cardiovascular surgery, including having performed the first successful human heart transplant in the United States, and the world's first implementation of an artificial heart in man as a bridge to heart transplantation, and for founding the Texas Heart Institute, which has served more heart patients than any other institution in the world. The team of Kenneth L. Thompson and Dennis M. Ritchie from Bell Laboratories Lucent Technology. For co-inventing the Unix operating system and the C programming language, which together have led to enormous advances in computer hardware, software, and networking systems, and have stimulated the growth of an entire industry, thereby enhancing American leadership in the information age. The team of Robert T. Frawley, Robert B. Horsch, Ernest G. Jaworski, Stephen G. Rogers from Monsanto. For pioneering achievements in plant biology and agricultural biotechnology, and for global leadership in the development and commercialization of genetically modified crop to enhance agricultural productivity and sustainability. James L. Vincent, for leadership in applying breakthroughs in biology to the development of life-saving and life-enhancing pharmaceutical products designed to treat large, previously underserved patient populations throughout the world, including development of hepatitis B vaccines, the first vaccines used in recombinant DNA technology. Charles A. Heimbold, for extending and enhancing human life through innovative pharmaceutical research and development, and for redefining the science of clinical study through groundbreaking and hugely complex clinical trials that are recognized as models in the industry.
Thank you, Major. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations again. We're adjourned. Thank you.